All right, and we're on, Devon. Today I'm pleased to announce a friend of mine. We have met on Facebook, and he is also undergoing a new treatment. He's on a trial. His name is Devon Nicholson, and he is a retired professional wrestler who wrestled primarily under the name Hannibal. As an amateur wrestler, Nicholson is a former national champion in freestyle wrestling and Olympic trial silver medalist in Greco Roman Wrestling. He's won the Canadian Open and Ontario Championships in grappling. He's also an actor and has played several roles. I will put his full bio at the bottom of the YouTube video. And we've got him on speakerphone, so this is how we're going to do this one, guys. I hope all is well with all of our audience. And we're going to go ahead and introduce Devon. Hello, Devon.
Hello, I am here and looking forward to speaking with you.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, starting with when you were diagnosed, where your life was at the time, and then go into what's happening with you now, Devon, please.
Yeah, I found out in around 2009, well actually in June 2009, that I had the virus active in my system, and at that time I was in the process of starting with the WWE, which was like a pretty good contract, 3-year open-ended contract, so I've been working pretty hard my whole life towards a wrestling career, and everything was about to take off, and then I found out I had this deadly disease. Shortly thereafter, I found out my contract was being taken away due to the disease, and shortly after that, I started my first treatment for the disease, which was unsuccessful. That was the standard treatment of interferon and ribavirin.
Correct, and you've got genotype 1, I presume?
No, I have genotype 2, actually.
Okay, that's the same as I had, which is the old treatment. Mine was the 6-month interferon ribavirin, and that didn't work for you.
No, it didn't work. I was suffering a lot of severe side effects. I was still trying to work my 2 jobs at that time and keep my normal life going, and the side effects were actually quite terrible on me. So at week 19, after what the doctors described as a mild stroke, they suggested that a lot of type 2s can even stop at week 12 of the standard treatment and be clear if they're early responders, and I was an early responder last time. So the doctor figured that, he said it was up to me, but he said completing the full 24 weeks or stopping at week 19, he didn't think it would make a huge difference on whether I was cured or not, and he said, considering your side effects are escalating so much, might be a good idea to stop. So I stopped, and I thought I was going to be cured. I was pretty confident about it. I had lost about 35 pounds or so the last treatment.
Wow.
And within the 6 months, I had gained it back. I was so mad of how out of shape I became while I was on the treatment. And I just wanted to show everyone that I was not out yet, so I had booked myself. I was supposed to find out if I was cured or not in July.
Right.
And I booked myself an MMA fight in August because you need to be able to be hepatitis C free to fight MMA. So I'm like, I'm going to get this paper saying I'm cured and I'm going to fight the next month. And
so, Devon, did they never test you prior to you hitting the big time with it?
With hepatitis C, I've been tested for hepatitis quite a few times.
Right.
The last test indicated I did not have anything wrong with my liver were around 2006.
Oh, I see,
and
okay.
I believe, and everything seems to indicate that it's very likely that I caught it in 2007.
Right.
Yeah, basically, everything was going good in my life. I thought I was cured, and then I had the bombshell dropped on me that the hepatitis C was back, so that was
Absolutely.
So
I can't even imagine it.
My own life at that point, but I didn't.
You stuck it through, though.
I stuck it through. I'm still, of course, they were telling me at that time there was nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't going to put me on the same treatment because it didn't work the first time.
Right.
I didn't have medical benefits at that time, so I couldn't force them to give me treatment.
Right.
That treatment was covered by the government,
mm-hmm.
and that doctor was not going to put me on any new treatment. He told me it would be 5 to 6 years before anything new came out, but I wasn't willing to accept that because I'm only 30 now. If I can get cured, I could still have a bit of an athletic career ahead of me.
Absolutely, yes.
Including going all the way to Phoenix, Arizona to get second opinions.
Right.
I found a doctor there that told me about this new Incevac treatment, and then I brought all that information back to a second opinion.
Okay.
Hepatitis C specialist in Canada, and she thought that she could get me on it, and I was covered for most of the treatment by my benefits, so I could kind of be on it because I could afford it.
Right.
Not covered with benefits right now.
And you touched on something important. I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is important. And that is that the younger a person is when they treat, there's so many pluses with that. Number one, the success rate is higher when you're younger and you haven't had the disease that long, usually. And I'm sorry that happened to you. And number two is your body can take the treatment. The treatment's very, very hard on our bodies. And when you're younger, your body's able to withstand treatment more. And I just wanted to let the audience know that because it is really important in deciding your own treatment. So, and then take us...
When you're older, you can't really deal with it. I mean, I
absolutely.
For a fairly healthy person. Like, I think I was probably as healthy as a person could get with hepatitis C when I began.
Right, because you were working out and you were on special diets, I presume, and
I had, as you mentioned earlier, you're allowed to compete in amateur wrestling if you have hepatitis C. So I had
really
won silver at the Olympic wrestling trials. I was in good shape, but
yeah.
It's just still been devastating to me. It's actually been the hardest thing I've ever gone through in my life. I had to go to the emergency room in January due to the itching side effects, which the itching has been probably the worst feeling I ever experienced in my life, like bugs crawling under the skin type of itching.
Yes, and I've seen pictures.
It's just the low energy, the weight loss, the stress of not being able, I was trying to work for the first bit of this treatment, but I was just becoming overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's hard.
The doctors ended up ordering me to go on sick leave because I was suffering pretty bad.
Now, Devon, what treatment is it that they've got you on? I know you're on a trial. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, the trial is Incevac. It's now been approved.
The 3-tier.
Genotype 1 patients.
Correct. So that's the new 3-tier treatment that they're seeing up to 80% results, and even non-responders, former non-responders, are seeing up to 80% or better results with the new 3-tier treatment, which is interferon, ribavirin, and a third drug, a protease inhibitor. Correct, Devon?
Yes.
Is that what you're on?
The drug basically blocks the virus from reproducing, from what I understand.
That's correct,
yes. The other two just kind of boost your immune system and force your immune system to kind of kill the virus. So
correct.
The third one, with it blocking from reproducing, it greatly increases the chances because the virus, from what I understand, it could actually reproduce huge amounts every day while it's active in your system.
Absolutely, yeah. So, it clones itself.
So yeah, I believe one of, if not the first...
You're the first I've heard of that has genotype 2.
Interested with Incevac in Canada.
Yes.
There's been a few in the States, and that's why the American doctor recommended that it might work for me.
Right, yeah, right.
So it's been very tough. It was originally only supposed to be a 24-week treatment.
Correct.
But I actually made it through the 24 weeks, and my specialist told me that because I relapsed the first time, they were concerned that I would relapse again.
Right.
So they added another 12 weeks onto my treatment. So just when I thought I was almost done, and I had mentally and financially prepared to only do 24 weeks of treatment,
bam,
I find out I have another 12 weeks tacked on. So that's been a horrible thing to...
Yes, bittersweet, right?
And it's created even problems with my jobs because my jobs agreed for me to be on sick leave for that amount of time.
Oh, right, yes.
Now it's been extended.
And
my
so
benefits were only good to cover me for the first 6 months of treatment. So as far as I know, I am not covered right now. I've been having to pay for my medication. And as you probably know, it's not just the hepatitis C medications you have to pay for. You have to pay for all the medications to fight the side effects.
That's right, that's right. Very pricey.
The mental side effects, the anti-sleep side effects,
depression,
the skin creams you have to buy, the Advil to deal with the horrible headaches you could experience.
I feel for you, absolutely. Why did they extend it? Was it still showing in your system, Devon? Is that why they are doing a longer treatment?
No, it was actually out of my system by week 4. I've been testing negative actually since November. Oh, good to know. The doctors told me since I relapsed the first time and I was testing negative since week 4, they just want to make sure that I 100% don't relapse again. And they said mine's a special case where it's actually affecting my work. I've actually lost not only my wrestling job because of it, but I've lost another job in the mental health industry that I worked in due to hepatitis C. So it's affecting my ability to earn a living. So they said they were going to do everything they can to make sure that they clear the hepatitis C from my virus. And actually recently my last few blood tests have shown that my liver enzyme values have started to improve.
Good.
Drastically. So that's a good sign. My liver values never improved during my first treatment. No. So that's a good sign that the hepatitis C is probably out of my system, but unfortunately I still have to push through 9 more weeks.
9 more weeks. That was my next question. How much longer do you have to go? And may we follow up with you afterwards?
So basically until July. I believe June 24th or June 26th is my last ribavirin dose. So it's a long time.
It is.
And it's really tough. I mean, you still have to deal with all the outside stresses of life. That's what I've been trying to tell people on my own videos. Don't go into this. I think that was my problem with first treatment, thinking that you're Superman or...
No, that absolutely good advice. Yep.
Plus the treatment, because people don't feel
most people can't work.
There's a lot of people that will discriminate against you and hold stigmas against you. And it's more obvious that you have hepatitis C when you look sick from the treatment.
Yep.
So there's going to be a lot of problems that will come up specifically due to being on treatment. So you need to try and be as financially secure as possible and make sure you have friends and family that you can count on to support you, because I couldn't do this alone. And I've had tons of people. I've had a lot of negative people that I've dealt with, but I've also had a lot of positive people.
Thank you for saying that.
Without all the positive help, because it's just far too hard.
That was my number one thing is, don't go into this. Every once in a while, there's a person that suffers very little side effect and actually can maintain their job. Most of the time on these treatments, folks, you have to have everything in place. You've got to have your caregivers in place. You have to let your work know that you may be so sick that you can't work, because that's how it turns out in most cases. And it's really important to know that going into this. It's not a light decision. It affects your entire life. And I heard it said not too long ago that we're all one disease away from financial ruin. And for me, that was the case, and for many people, that is the case, Devon. And it's a really good point.
Hard financially.
absolutely.
Without a doubt. And I luckily had a pretty decent amount of money to start with during this treatment, but it's sad that directly due to this hepatitis C, it's costing me a lot financially, and a lot of people don't think about the financial impact of it.
Correct.
It's there, and it's really unfortunate, and you already have increased anxiety and stress due to the medication. It's a chemical effect of the medication.
Yeah.
And you add in the real stresses of the financial impact, and then the stresses of like the treatment can literally kill you.
It can be overwhelming. May I ask you, Devon, has
really
it...
tough. So if you really are in the position to keep your job and can get a lighter schedule, that's fine. Do it, but it's very, very tough.
Yeah, you need to plan ahead.
You have the physical side effects, but there's a lot of psychological side effects. You're more irritable. Your memory is not as good. I've noticed the memory is a huge one for me. I've lost my wallet almost every day the past few months, and I have a hard time finding my keys, simple stuff like that.
The brain fog's incredible.
It's affecting my memory and the lack of sleep. I believe about half the patients on interferon treatment experience insomnia.
Yes, they do.
From what I've read, but that's something you can't fight. Like, I've tried everything. I've been on many different medications for it, and nothing is working. So you need to kind of expect that you might have the insomnia side effect if you're going into this, because it just happens. And I've tried yoga. I've tried relaxation techniques. I've tried prescription medications. I've tried the melatonin-type natural remedies. I've tried actually hypnosis videos to try and hypnotize you into sleep. I've tried absolutely everything.
And it doesn't work.
Fully works. If
No.
you're up for numerous days in a row, you finally crash. Maybe I sleep for 6 hours or so when I do finally crash.
Yeah.
But that's been pretty terrible, because even without all the other side effects of treatment, lack of sleep can cause severe mental damage to a person, and it's actually a form of torture.
I remember it very well, very well. And another thing, like, I can't believe your schedule. You're still doing interviews and plugging that movie, This is Hannibal, and you're still doing so much.
Related to hepatitis C, the This is Hannibal movie had to do with my story of how hepatitis C affected me in every part of my life, so that's why I was plugging that.
Well,
I'm trying to spread awareness, and I can't just sit around. I'm not the type that can just sit around and do nothing. And
I get it.
I'm upset that I have to go through all of this. I'm just trying to create as much awareness as possible, but I'm not doing weekly updates anymore.
I know, it gets harder.
Because it's too hard.
I understand. I did the same. I started with weekly updates, and then it kind of, then it was 2 weeks, and however I felt, I just did it when I felt up to it and when the mood struck me. We're going to have to tie this up a little bit, Devon. I would like your permission to follow up with you, after treatment when you're feeling better again. And we wish you all the best, that you are cured. For God's sakes, please be cured.
Thank you.
And thank you.
You were cured.
And I'm so grateful, right? Obviously, I'm not done yet, and the world isn't done with me. And we thank you as a Hep C community, and on behalf of this and all diseases, thank you so much for being who you are and helping us to spread awareness and education. Because seriously, it isn't until people of celebrity talk about it that people really begin to notice. And unfortunately, that's the truth. And so the more people that come out and talk about this, that have this disease, that, people know you, perhaps you're a celebrity, please come forward and tell the world and help us spread this education and awareness and get rid of the stigma.
Yeah,
for gosh sakes.
Thing, like, for instance, the person that I believe transmitted this to me, he has it, but he won't admit it, and that doesn't do anything to help the
No.
stop of the disease.
Why deny it?
Kenneyville died from it. Pamela Anderson has it.
Correct, yeah. Steven Tyler
had it. The Rolling Stones frontman had it. I mean, so many famous people had it. It's
I know.
nothing to be ashamed of. And when you actually are ashamed of it and hide that you have it, that's what helps create.
It helps feed the stigma. It helps feed the stigma.
I want the stigma to go away. That's one of my big goals in
Yeah.
this, because I've experienced it, and I don't like being treated differently just because I have a disease. And it's unfortunate. Over 170 million people have the disease, and those are the ones that admit to having it and know that they have it. There's a lot of people that don't have it. So the disease is a big problem. I would even describe it as an epidemic. So people just need
It's
to
actually a world pandemic, honey. A world pandemic.
Exactly.
And the 1 in 12
Thanks again.
and the millions that have it, those are figures from 1998 World Health Organization. Those figures are up, and I'd love to know what they really are, because many of you out there have it. Baby boomers, get tested. If you've been to a dentist, get tested. Botox, any kind of surgery, please get tested. Everybody's come in contact with another's blood at some point. That's how you get hepatitis C. It's blood-to-blood contact. Devon, we thank you so much for your time and for taking this opportunity, as crappy as you feel. We thank you for coming forward, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Good luck with your further awareness.
Thank you. You have a great day. Make the best of it.
I will. Bye.
Oh, okay, bye-bye. And you guys, thank you. I am grateful to you all for being there, for listening, for feeding comments, that we are helping you. That is why we're doing these videos. We want to help everyone deal with their own issues or their friends or families. We love you all. Stay tuned for more, and have a great day.